that shit woke me the fuck up. How deep can I go?
As deep as you're comfortable with.
Happiness is something that I don't compromise on whatsoever now. I didn't rebel. I was a good Christian girl. I was doing what I was supposed to be doing while you lot were out here in these streets. So like, I'm just like, I'm no longer religious. All of a sudden, screaming or shouting. I had to be carried outside one night. It was a lot. It was a lot. But you don't get hungry. Like,
you don't?
No, you came for answers. Like, you know when you're going through a breakup, like, do you feel like eating?
Oh, no.
You don't know, like, sometimes where they're like, don't let that person drown, or pick that person up, don't let them fall. I will watch you fall. I will watch you.
You filled your cup up first, you've looked after yourself, you've done all your self-love, self-care, and then someone is drowning. Would you still not go out your way? Like, you have the capacity to help.
Genuine experiences where, like, I wanted to jump off, like, buildings and stuff like that, and actually, like, been this close.
Had you not spoken to your mum for those 7 to 8 years? What's your relationship with your mum like now? Like,
How did it make you feel? You could be honest. I don't know how to explain this.
Alright, so excited finally.
I know, like, it's been so forever.
Oh my gosh, yeah, finally. We were like, if today does not work, we're doing it on Zoom. Like, no way.
I know. Oh yeah, I forgot about the Zoom option.
God.
But yeah,
it's alright, we've made it today.
Yeah.
Well, hi everyone. Welcome back to my podcast. I'm here today with the beautiful Amma.
Hi.
And we met about 2 months ago at like an event, and we were talking, and I think all of us were just having like a little chat, and then you brought up the fact that you've done ayahuasca. And when was it that you did it?
I did ayahuasca in 2022.
So just like a year ago. And to be honest, I didn't really know too much about it until I spoke to you about it, and maybe a couple months before that. And I've just found it such a fascinating concept. Emma's actually done a video on her experience of ayahuasca. You went to Rhythmia in Costa Rica, so she's done her whole, experience, what the whole week entailed. So I will link that in the description so you guys can go check that out. Before we start, if you want to let the people know, what is ayahuasca?
Sure. So ayahuasca is essentially a plant-based medicine. It is found in the area of South America, and essentially is designed to help you experience your higher self more on a spiritual and deeper level. Basically an out-of-body experience, none like no other. It's not on the same level as mushrooms or MDMA. Like, it's nothing on that sort of level. It's pretty much like one of the higher doses of like plant medicine or like natural medicine that you could take.
So you mentioned that people go there to find like their higher self. What are like the main reasons people go apart from that? Like, what could trigger them to want to find their higher self?
I think in society a lot of people are not taught how to deal with the dark side of their life, and society has this expectation that we need to conform to certain standards around. I can speak more from maybe like a feminine perspective, but like get married, have kids, and the pressures around that, and like doing what maybe mum or dad wants you to do, sort of thing. But not everybody is built that way or is designed to do that, and as a result of that, some people might be led down a path of doing things to keep up appearances, but then behind closed doors, like, they have this whole new world, double life basically, that they live. And I would say ayahuasca is like, it focuses more on the sides that maybe you don't want anyone to know about, that you're struggling to deal with, and that you kind of want help for. So that's essentially what ayahuasca brings out of you.
So is it usually people who have been through some sort of trauma then, basically?
Yeah, I'd say people who have been through trauma, or people who are kind of going through a stage or phases in life where like life for one reason or another is not working, like everything, you just literally come to a halt. Like you're just hitting a brick wall every time, and you're just like, I need answers, I need help. That's like most of the people that I tend to find in ayahuasca are kind of at that stage of life. Or people who are very successful and they want more success in sight. Those are also the types of people I tend to find in ayahuasca as well. Why
did you choose to go to Costa Rica and not, because I know that there's retreats in the UK, there's retreats in India, I think?
Yeah, India, there's some in the UK, there's some in Spain. It's becoming quite popular, I'd say. And obviously for like financial reasons, I can understand why people would want to not kind of travel and stuff, but I decided to go to Costa Rica because I wanted an authentic experience. I did do it in a controlled environment, so it wasn't in the jungle. I know there's like options to do it in the jungle. You're not gonna find me there, but yeah, like I just wanted to do it in a controlled, nice environment. So Rivmia was the place that I decided to do.
When you said who tends to go and like to these ayahuasca retreats, you said that it's usually people who maybe they know the right path for them, but they're constantly finding themselves in the similar situations, and they could be the common denominator in all their problems.
Yeah, that's exactly who Rivmia is targeted at. They actually call it like a miracle experience, and I definitely would say if you are someone who doubts yourself, or someone who knows your potential but for some strange reason or another you can't get there, 90% guaranteed you're probably more likely to get your awakening.
Wow.
in somewhere like that.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's actually crazy.
Yeah, like I think you said that before. I mean, briefly, or you just told us briefly when I met you last time about the reasons why you went in. So if you're comfortable sharing, what were the sort of reasons for you wanting... Actually, before I ask that, how did you find out about ayahuasca?
I found out about ayahuasca through a cousin of mine. She is like into spirituality on a much deeper level. Okay, so sorry.
That's alright.
So my cousin she's into spirituality on a much deeper level, and I was in a relationship at the time, and there were just things that wasn't making sense to me, and she was just like, yeah, just go with me. I was like, no, but you know, and she's like, just go, and I was like, okay. And then
so she told you to do it?
Yeah, she actually told me to do it, and then like after that relationship ended, I was like, okay, cool, I need help. So yeah, that led me to go to Rivmia, and that's kind of where the start of my like whole trajectory and life has like literally changed.
So was it like solely from that relationship then?
Solely, no, I wouldn't say just from the relationship, and more it was to do with relationships with people, with family, with like romantic partners, that sort of thing. That was kind of where my area of struggle was around.
Right, I see. So you've booked it. Your cousins told you, okay, Amma, you need to go to Rhythmia. You've booked it. How long was it between booking it and actually going out?
Like 2 weeks.
So you had 2 weeks to prepare?
Yeah, I was like, if I stay in this UK like any longer, I'm actually going to lose my shit. Like, I need to go.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was like 2 weeks. Just packed a bag and just bounced.
So did you trusted your cousin then with that?
Yeah, I have quite a good relationship with her.
Yeah.
So yeah, I trusted her.
You know, she's got like your good intentions at heart and stuff.
Yeah.
So you're on the plane. How are you feeling? Like you're at the airport, you're like on your way to Costa Rica. Are you like second doubting yourself?
No, I'm there to get my miracle. That's what I came for.
That. No, I love that.
Yeah, I had like the most confidence in the world, and an element of like curiosity. I'm a very curious person naturally, so yeah, like got on the plane. I wasn't thinking, oh my god, I'm scared. I was just thinking I need to get there because I need my answers and I want a good experience. So yeah, it was just more the waiting game of getting there, and then like seeing how everything works and what kind of people you're gonna meet, you know, what journeys are they on and stuff like that. So
it's nice as well that you said that, you know, you had that intention of like you want to actually change, because I remember specifically in your video you said something like, if you're not 100% certain on wanting to find your higher self or whatever it is, then you should not go. So the fact that you were so certain, that just shows that you know, you took that experience so seriously. Yeah,
and I think for the price I paid, I need to like I need to be serious. Like, so yeah, it was definitely something that I felt like I can't come back and expect to be the same person, because like clearly that isn't working for me, and I want to experience I want to have higher experiences. And happiness is like something that I don't compromise on whatsoever now. So yeah, that's what I went to get essentially.
Honestly, that shows like the amount of self-love you've got as well.
Well, I have to.
Do you know what I mean? Like you wanted to change, because I've seen so many situations or people who they have all the, you know, solutions to their problems, but they just don't want to help themselves. But you know, you wanted to.
Yeah, and I think those sorts of people I find very interesting, and I tend to keep away from those sorts of people because it's almost like welcoming self-destruction consciously, and I don't understand that.
Yeah, and you don't want that to rub off on you as well.
No.
And then you don't want to spend your time trying to save that person when there's never going to be any
benefit or happiness.
No, 100%. I think that was one big life lesson that I learned, is you can't help people who don't want to be helped.
And accepting that.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Definitely.
Without trying to feel bad, because I'm like the biggest empath. It's the worst thing ever, but actually I've learned to embrace it in a way.
Okay,
because
that's
it just
good.
shows the fact that I can feel, but I think it's important to protect myself first.
I agree.
So you've got there as well, and you decided to stay with one person, didn't you?
Yeah, I decided to stay with one person, and it was quite interesting actually because they were also going through their own stuff. And I think she was like 60. I was just like, we have nothing in common.
No, she wasn't.
Yeah. She was like 60.
What? She didn't even look 30. That's crazy.
Wait.
The girl that you like.
No, not the girl that I didn't No. Someone else. The person that I shared a room with.
Oh, right.
Yeah, she was.
I thought it was the same girl.
No, she's in her 60s. So it was just like a whole completely different journey that she was on, the whole different experience. And I was just like, okay, cool, you do you, I'll do me, sort of thing.
Beautiful. She did it at 60. Oh my god.
But similarly, she also kind of got to a halt. I think it was to do with a relationship and also moving states, because a lot of people that come to with me are from the States. So she was also on her own journey, but couldn't really relate to what she was going through, but we just both knew that we needed it, some sort of awakening.
Did she respect your space and you respected that? That's good. That's nice. And I remember when you arrived there, you said that you'd written down 16 or so intentions, and then the girl that was at the beginning of your video, she wrote down like between 16 to 37. So do they tell you to, like, obviously they give you that notepad as well, don't they?
Yeah, so they make it very specific to spiritual awakening and healing, and just being your authentic self. There's like no judgment, there's no sense of you cannot do X, Y, or Z. Like, you're there to live your ayahuasca experience, you're there for your healing. So in terms of the intentions, it was definitely around why do I keep repeating certain behaviors, why is my relationship with my mum like broken, like just certain things like that I couldn't really see for myself. And bearing in mind, I know people who like, I come from a strict African household, so like West African as well, so like the sorts of dynamics that we have with our parents, for some of us, especially being the first girl, it's absolute hell. So even though I have or know people who have African mothers who are kind of like getting on with life quite normally, for me it just hinders me. Like, it can actually like stop my whole life from working, sort of thing. And they'll tell jokes about things their mum does and they'll laugh, or I'll tell them about things my mum do and they'll be on the floor howling of laughter, and I'll be like this. Like, I will not find it funny, because to me, like, you're actually hurting me. Like, you're hurting me and I can't function, sort of thing. So it was stuff like that I really wanted the ayahuasca to show me. And over there they call it like mama ayahuasca, like their god is female, as opposed to male. So that's kind of what was going on in terms of the intention. So but with me, I make it very, very simple. It's like things like show me who I've become. Yeah, just setting like very basic intentions and showing who I've become. Like, so many things can come up there. But yeah, mainly it was just to do with relationships with my parents, family, intimate relationships. That was kind of like everything that came up for me.
What does the show me who I've become actually mean?
It just is asking the medicine to basically reveal to me like who I am, who I need to be. And in the spiritual world, I mean, in the reality, that's like, I'm Emma, I do IT consulting, I'm an actor, like all these things. But like, outside of that, what am I? Like, what is my purpose outside of that?
Right.
And that's like what the ayahuasca was like guiding me towards. And again, like, dark areas as well, dark areas of life. How deep can I go?
As deep as you want. Okay. As deep as you're comfortable with.
So just even things like even things like sex, for example, and what society teaches us about sex, and just everything is wrong with it. Everything is wrong with it. Especially from like a Christian perspective, Christian religious perspective, whereby like a lot of it is like, don't have sex until you get married. Yet, like, let's be real, like, I want to know what I'm working with before I get to that stage. Like, it's not a case of like, I've now got there, I've signed the deed, and I'm like, oh, like, I should just be unhappy for the rest of my life. Like, it's just like, that's a very basic deed, but it's just things like that aren't really, I don't know how to explain this. So things like that aren't really going to kind of help you understand like what you like sexually. Like, you need to explore, but in our society we're taught that that's wrong or that's bad, or, you know, it's thought behavior, whatever it is. But like, these are very important rites of passage of life. So I think ayahuasca really brings out people's dark sides around like areas to do with drugs, like sex, like alcohol, like all that stuff. I met like a few people who had like drug addictions, like they were talking about that. One person was even just telling me how tired they are, like they're tired of their drug, like they actually can't stop, that's why they're there, sort of thing. So it's, people are going through some serious yeah.
Did it change your views on religion?
Absolutely. Definitely did. I'm no longer religious. So.
Not at all.
No, I'm spiritual, but I'm no longer religious.
I've talked to loads of people about this, not just through ayahuasca, but just in general. They've had some sort of, and it tends to be Christians, I think.
Yeah.
So I was speaking to my friend Aridra. She was actually on my podcast like loads of episodes ago, and we were on the phone 2 days ago, and she was saying how she believes she's more spiritual now than like Christian. Like, she was brought up in a Christian household, but she doesn't like the idea that a lot of Abrahamic religions are God-fearing rather than actually doing things for your intention. And I don't know. Yeah. I don't want to like offend anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. These are my views. But what I realised in terms of growing up in a Christian household is there is the Christian way, and 9 times out of 10 the Christian way doesn't align with the body. Like, it is just separate from that, and the paths that I've seen like my mum or like aunties and uncles go down, like it just negates from just being yourself. Like, I don't want to be detached from myself whatsoever, and I think there's definitely a lot of expectations, a lot of judgment, a lot of hypocrisy, all that sort of stuff, and I don't want to be part of it. I don't want to know about priests who sleep with little kids and then go to the pulpit on Sunday and preach the word. Like, I don't want to be affiliated in any way with that. So I've just detached myself from religion and recognised that I want to kind of have more in-body experiences where I can connect with a higher source from me to them, not through a priest or like, the priest is just as human as I am. Like, the bones, everything, the structure is just the same. It's more about nurturing and growing my mind and just understanding what's real and what's not real for me. Yeah.
Do you like pray then, or like talk to a higher self, something like what do you?
So I tend to meditate, but I just live my life. Yeah. Like, I just live my life. I do what I feel is right for me in that moment, and I just try to be respectful. Yeah. Like, that's pretty much all I can do. But I don't go to church. Don't do any of that stuff.
None of that anymore. And that's because of ayahuasca. Mm-hmm. Wow. So what was the medicine saying to you when you took it?
So people have different experiences, but mine mainly was like a voice speaking in my head, which was just my higher voice, really and truly.
So Amma, like the highest version of Amma speaking to you.
Yeah, that's kind of like what was coming up for me. And then I also had like periods where I was vomiting, and then I had like periods where I was just laughing uncontrollably, like I was high. Yeah, so that was pretty much what came up. But in terms of like what it was saying, This is like almost a year ago. So just things like, it talked quite a bit about my mum's childhood. These are things that I have no idea of. She's never told me.
No way.
She never told me, but it definitely brought up stories of my mum's childhood, areas of my dad's life which I wasn't so aware of, and it kind of just like fit the pieces to the puzzle in terms of like why they are the way they are, why they behave the way they behave. So I got that level of awakening. And even during one of the experiences, so they have these things called shamans.
Yeah.
The shamans will guide you. And there was this one day I was like, I need to call my mum. Like, I was high, I was drunk off the ayahuasca. I was like, I need to call her. They were like, no, like, do not do that. It's the worst thing you could ever do. I was like, don't tell me what to do. I need to speak to her now. And I called her. And
so they let you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, they sent me back to my room because
Yeah.
I told them that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then I called her and she was just like, she was very scared. Like, she was very taken aback. And
what did you say to her?
I just told her what it told me. I can't really say here because I haven't actually asked her if I can say.
Of course,
it's her like private life and stuff. But I just told her what it told me about her childhood, and she didn't actually accept what I said. And all she said to me was that she doesn't believe in whatever it is I'm worshipping now, and that's what she kept. She kept dismissing what I was saying, which is very common in like our African mums, like cultural behaviour, which is very dismissive. But I'm pretty sure that what the ayahuasca told me is true, and my cousin's able to validate parts of what I'm saying as well. So it doesn't sound
crazy.
like, yeah.
How? Oh my gosh. Because if she's never told you that before, but the medication, like your higher self is telling you that.
I don't know how it works in the body, like the intricacies of it, but I just know that was the experience I had. Yeah, so like I know since then I'm a bit more aware, like naturally now when I'm like dealing with people, especially like with my mum and stuff, and I can be quite like, I'm an open book. So I'll just tell you the truth. Like I won't even sugarcoat. I'll just tell you this is what I heard, this is what it said. Like yeah, so
it was like a sorry to like go a bit right back, but it was like a 7-day experience. And they gave you breakfast and lunch, but no food after 2 p.m.
Yeah, so the reason for that was because they basically wanted like our bodies to be empty to be able to have the full experience and the fullness of the ayahuasca during that time. So but you don't get hungry. Like,
you don't?
No, you came for answers. Like you know when you're going through a breakup, like do you feel like eating?
Oh, no,
you don't want to do anything. Like it's pretty much like that. You don't think about food like that. But the food there actually slapped. Like, that's one thing I would say. Like, it was so delicious.
It was like organic and stuff.
Yeah,
right?
it was organic. It was fresh, like locally sourced. Like, you don't get that food here in London. I was just like, I'm thinking about going back just for the food. It's so nice.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What about, does it include water? I know that's a very small question.
Yeah.
You can have water.
You can have water. There's also like some prescribed smoothies that are designed to kind of help you have like a more heightened experience.
Yeah.
I think I tried that on one of the nights, but I think the experiences on the whole were very much like high for me anyway, because I wasn't like, I grew up in an environment where you don't really express your emotions or talk about how you're feeling. So like suppressing all that and then like going from having no emotion to then like all of a sudden screaming or shouting. Like I had to be carried outside one night. Like it was a lot. It was a lot, but yeah, it was a lot.
It's like all that suppressed emotion over the years. Well, going back to the fasting thing a little bit, what happens if like you're on your period?
So so there's like a pre-screening where you have a questionnaire and stuff that you have to complete. You do speak to the team over the phone, and they do recommend not to come. Yeah. Like if you're on your period, but if it does happen, they might like sit you aside, and they won't let you take it. Yeah. So I really would recommend not to go on the times you're on your period.
Yeah, and also with your period anyway, you need more food during that time as well anyway. So
and comfort.
Yeah,
exactly. A lot.
Yeah, you don't need any like stress or anything like that.
Absolutely not.
Oh
no.
my God. So you've like, let's say each night, what was like the most pivotal moment during your whole ayahuasca experience? Like, what was that one day where you felt as though you had reached your higher self?
So I don't think it happened during ayahuasca. The experience, or the heightenedness of the experience, comes back when you try to integrate into like the normal world, into reality.
Right. So when you came back to London.
Yeah, and I think that's been like the toughest part, because like I have had a few like suicidal triggers and stuff like that, but not like my boss is pissing me off, like I just want to shoot myself type, like genuine experiences where like I wanted to jump off like buildings and stuff like that, and actually like been this close. And it's not everybody has gone or has been through this, but it's just more because of how suppressed my emotions were. Like the eruption of it was just a shock to my system, and I just couldn't cope for like the first few months.
Wow, so this was after.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
What was the difference before you went and after? Like, how do you feel you've changed the most? You as a person, like disregarding any sort of relationships or anything, you specifically.
I think I'm more driven to focus on my happiness as opposed to other people's happiness. I'll definitely say before I was the type of person who you would call me up, be like, I need your help, or I need money, or I need this, and like I'm like, okay, cool. Now you're not gonna get that level of access to me. No. So I'm definitely more like, I wouldn't say guarded, but my boundaries are very like clear and set. And you know, like sometimes where they're like, oh, don't let that person drown, or pick that person up, don't let them fall. I will watch you fall. Like, I will watch you, and I will not feel bad or upset or sad for watching you fall. Like, it's okay. Like, that's part of life.
So I think you mentioned as well in your video that you were an empath.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's been sort of disintegrated a little bit?
Yeah, I definitely feel like it has. I think when you're hurting so much about choices you make, you have to do what's best for yourself. You have to do what's good for you and what makes you happy. So,
do you think people can get to that stage without doing ayahuasca? Because that's something that me personally, I've struggled a lot with, boundaries, with being too, like, my feelings getting in the way.
I think it's definitely important to feel. I'm not saying just go and be a rebel and do what the you want. I'm not saying that at all. But I think it takes a long time to get there, because self-awareness is a journey. And if you're prepared to accept that that's your process, then that's absolutely fine. But if it is literally like stopping you from getting out of bed, and that's the point that I was at, then I know for sure, like, I cannot be the type of person who just wakes up and wants to lay in bed all day for the rest of my life. I can do that for a short period of time, but like, if that is becoming your norm and you're not okay with that, then you probably would want to get some assistance. It's just like, you know, going to the doctor, or, you know, going to a therapist. They're there to help you fix a problem or identify a solution to your problem. So if you would do that if you've got a car, or if you would do that if you're having a mental situation, or just taking a course, like, you would take a course to get more information about a certain topic. So, like, why wouldn't you do that for your health?
I think before speaking about like your relationship with your mum, maybe let's talk about romantic relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So how were you picking your partners before ayahuasca, and what were the sort of reoccurring problems then compared to now, and how you pick your partners now?
What was it? I think I used to like pick based on what I liked as opposed to who liked me.
Right.
And I think when, I hate these terms, but like as the woman or as the girl, like it's a different experience if you're dating based on what you go for as opposed to like what actually likes you and the type of dynamic. And because I grew up in quite a strict like African household, like Ashanti, so my parents are Ghanaian, and specifically Ashanti, like the women there are kind of breeded in a way to do a lot of work, like take on a lot of responsibility, and the men not so much. So there's already an imbalance. So I think a lot of my like previous relationships had that imbalance of me kind of taking on a lot of the responsibility
Playing like the mum role a little bit.
more than that mum role, and like I would say half of the responsibilities that like a father would be expected to pick up, and that imbalance is normal to them. So I think that was one of the things I realized in a lot of my previous relationships. Like I was subconsciously happy to just pick up most of the load, whereas now I don't do load. I don't do any load. Like I'm just not interested in like any of that stuff. So I am very, very selective in terms of my time. And one thing I didn't do before was listen.
Right.
I never listened. Like I'll always hear what I want to hear. And because of that, I didn't really weigh up what this romantic connection was giving me. And I decided that now I need to listen. Like I'm going to listen the first time, max the second time, but you're not going to get a third or fourth. Like it's I'm going to hear you the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think going back to what you said before, like as the woman or whatever, I made like an observation about a couple months ago. You know when you watch like David Attenborough documentaries, every single species, he always talks about how there's like a roster of males and they're all competing for this one woman, and she's just sat there and they're all fighting against each other for her, and she's like, do you know what, I pick you, you know my worth, you understand like you know what I would, like who I am, like the goddess energy and all that.
And that's exactly what I mean about now just being able to sit in my feminine and allow the guy to approach me, because like clearly there's something he's seen in you, and it's about kind of identifying whether what he's seen in you is what is you or not, and you listen to what he's telling you, and if it resonates with who you see yourself as or where you want to go, then you know that's a journey you continue on. But if he hasn't picked you or identified you, like sis, you have no business there. Just stay away.
No, fully.
Yeah.
And then how's your relationship? We didn't really touch on it too much before, but what was your relationship like with your mother before, and then what is it like with her now?
I just say like very non-existent. Like I could not talk to her like happily. Like
This is before?
Yeah, before. I could see her in the house. I would not acknowledge her, she would not acknowledge me. It was just like tenants, like just living in a house, pretty much like that experience. And just a lack of respect for my boundaries. It was just too much. So yeah, I was desperate to move out of the house, like as soon as I got the opportunity to, and I did.
How old were you when you moved out?
I'd say probably about 25.
Yeah.
Moved out about 25. Just never looked back.
And then what was your relationship like while you had moved out? Because you'd moved out before Ayahuasca, didn't you? So what was your relationship with your mum then? Because sometimes what people say is once they do move out the house, it kind of fixes relationships a bit because you have better boundaries physically.
Yeah. I think if you're open to talking to the person, then it does. But I wasn't in a space mentally where I had like got to be able to talk to my mum, purely because I wasn't in a place to like recognize that you need to have boundaries or you need to rebel. I didn't rebel. I was a good Christian girl. I was doing what I was supposed to be doing while you lot were out here in these streets. So like I'm making up for lost time. Like I'm out here in these streets. I'm kind of like at that phase where it's just like everyone's like, yeah, I'm this now, I'm this. Okay, cool. I need to figure out what I'm doing.
Literally. Who did you move in with? Like, who did you move out with?
So when did I move? Oh, okay. So I bought my first place, but then that place was like undergoing renovations. So I just ended up moving into like house share.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, did the house
So
share.
you just wanted to get out. You didn't care who you were living with.
So I actually got a contract in Northampton.
Right.
So that led me there, and then from there I was just like house sharing.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like cool, but you're not really like in your own space sort of thing.
Yeah.
But also just the sheer fact that like no one's calling me to tell me what time I need to be home. No one's like just there's no one controlling me. Like I make my own money now. Like I have freedom sort of thing. So that was like quite cool.
And then how long? Do you know what's crazy? I thought you were like 21, 22.
Really?
Yeah.
I wish.
When was that?
25. So moved out basically 25.
Do you know how many years ago that was?
Yeah, I'm 32. So
it had been like 6-7 years that you'd moved out, and then you did ayahuasca. Had you not spoken to your mum for those 7 to 8 years?
So like you know, like when you say spoke, it's literally high and by. Like there's no.
So no, like I'm talking like catching up. Hey mum, how you doing? How's everything? Right.
No.
Texting, none of that.
No.
For 8 years.
Yeah, I'm not interested. I don't want to speak to someone I don't like. Like I'm not gonna do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Then you did ayahuasca.
Mhm.
How is and you spoke to your mum on the phone. Was that probably the first conversation you had? I know you were like high on the ayahuasca or whatever, but is that the first proper interaction you had with your mum after those 8 years?
I feel like it was the first time where I was telling her like this is what I know, as opposed to like, hi, how are you? Fine. Yeah, fine. Like this was like the first time I felt comfortable, didn't care about going deep.
Right.
And like the repercussions or the consequences of that, like I just didn't care.
Right. How did you feel when you woke up in the morning after that phone call during the retreat?
I mean, that's what the medicine told me.
Right.
So I'm just repeating it sort of thing. Like, and it was just more like, I did question, have I done something wrong? But then that's what the medicine told me. So like, if you have a problem with it, then that's on you. It's not on me, because that's your life. Like, those are your experiences. Like, they're either valid or they're not to you. But that's what it's told me.
And then you've come back from the retreat, you've come back to London. Mm-hmm. What is your relationship like? And it's been like a year. What's your relationship with your mum like now?
I definitely say it's a bit better. Like, I don't take her too seriously, even though she takes herself seriously. Like, I don't do that anymore, sort of thing. But I just learn now to keep within the boundaries of our dynamic, and that has like really, really helped my mental health. And I'm very, very firm in terms of being able to now just like, if she tries it or whatever, like I'll put you in your place straight away. Like, before I'll be like, no, just stop.
When we met as well at the event, you said something like your mum gets a bit worried for you now because she has seen such a difference after the retreat. She's like, Amma, you were like ridiculously happy. I feel like something's come over you or something like that.
Yeah, so I think for her it's just more the fact that I put like a lot of boundaries in place now. For her, she finds it very strange, because I used to kind of be the yes type of babe.
Babe.
Yeah, just like yes.
No, yeah, no.
Now I'm like So yeah, she just initially was struggling to adjust to it, and I think most of my family have, to be fair, but I think she's just learning to like observe, watch, and then if I say something and she likes it, that's fine. If I say something and she doesn't like it, that's also fine. But she can just as much say yes or no, just as much as I can. And I think just recognizing that I actually have my own voice, I think, was like a bit of a shock to her, but she's adjusting.
Yeah. So is that like a good thing in your eyes?
I mean, yeah, I think it's good. Yeah, and our dynamic has grown. Like, it's getting better. But one thing I've also kind of learned is like not to put expectations on people.
Right.
So even if I'd never have the relationship that I want with my mum, like I've also learned to kind of make peace with that as well. So before I was like, no, we have to be best friends. Like, now it's like, no, we don't actually, it's fine. And
then what does your mum now think of how you're choosing your partners? Because obviously she's probably seen the transition of that as well.
So I keep her out of that now.
Right.
She definitely contributed a lot to why I was with the type of partners I was with before. So I don't involve her at all.
Okay. You mentioned before, like near the beginning, you were like, happiness is your number one priority now. You don't care about anything else. So I was speaking to my sister about this the other day. Actually yesterday, because I was telling her I was coming to meet you to do this episode.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you have any questions that you want to ask Emma or something? She said one thing she wanted to ask is your opinion on whether you think happiness is a destination or just a feeling in the moment. Because in my opinion, I feel as though I would just want to be happy all the time. Obviously, maybe a couple of bad days here and there just to appreciate the good ones or whatever. But ultimately, I want to be happy. And my sister thinks that that's an unhealthy mindset in a way, because she's like, we're human beings, we're meant to feel every emotion and just take each day as it comes. Obviously, have sad times, good times. It shouldn't be like a destination.
Yeah.
But what's your opinion?
Yeah, I think when I say like happiness is a destination, it's more I'm learning to be happy.
Right.
And I've never kind of had the freedom to just enjoy being happy, mainly because of like the type of upbringing I grew up in, and everything's like delayed gratification.
Yeah.
Like, save now, you'll buy a nice house later. Like, don't have sex now, you'll find the right man later. Like, it's just everything is like delayed gratification. So I think I've kind of going through a stage now where I'm realizing actually I can be happy now. Like,
Right.
It doesn't have to be dictated on how much I've saved to what I can afford to buy in terms of a house or like a car or whatever. No, like, I can be broke and be happy. I can be like wealthy and be happy. Like, it's a state, it's a choice. Happiness is a choice.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you make sure that you don't hinder your future self by choosing happiness now, if that makes sense? Because obviously, like, you want to choose happiness now, but how do you make sure that today's happiness isn't hindering tomorrow negatively, in a way? Or do you not think about that too much now?
Yeah, I try not to.
Right.
And I try to focus on having the best that I had at the time with the resources that I had. Because tomorrow isn't guaranteed, and I wouldn't want to be in a situation where I am planning for the next 15 years and I'm only here for 5.
Right.
Like, I want to enjoy now, and that I kind of split it up as well, where like I have investments that are long term.
Yeah.
So
That's really good.
there's a bit of a balance there.
Yeah. That's good that you've got like a balance thing, because I was worried that maybe, I mean, you mentioned like being like a rebel or something. What do your friends think of this? Like the new Amma and the people that are close to you in your life?
So I think it's definitely been a journey, and I've definitely like ended a lot of friendships like along the way, and like to this part and the stage of my life now where I'm realizing that the old friendships that I have like they're not compatible, like they're not
Right.
serving me and stuff
Right.
like that. And I've really had to kind of like get to a point where I'm recognizing that self-sufficiency can be achieved like alone. Like,
Right.
you don't need to have like friends all the time. And I don't want to be that person who has friends all the time. But yeah, I'm not here to serve friendships. I'm here to
Because
serve
you're
myself.
picky with your time now.
Well, yeah, definitely, I would say so. And the experience has to bring me value just as much as it brings you value.
Yeah.
Like,
So it's like your romantic relationships. You're like, you want someone who adds to your life rather than
takes away from
it, or you have to compromise on loads of things and stuff.
Absolutely.
So overall, who do you recommend should not go? Well, we said should a little bit to find your higher self or whatever, and they can watch your video. Who do you think should not go?
I think if you have like any underlying health issues that could like cause you a heart attack,
Oh my
like,
gosh.
don't go.
Yeah.
And I think if you don't want to be awake, don't go. Yeah, just don't go. Just don't go.
So basically, if you're not serious about it, if you're not like 100% like I need to find, like for example, someone like me shouldn't go, because yes, okay, I might have problems with like boundaries, but I don't think I'm at that stage yet where I don't know how to explain it, because I've been thinking about it.
Yeah, but I also feel like you shouldn't wait to like hit rock bottom before you're
Right.
like, okay, cool, I can pick myself up, because, you know, we're humans, we're like evolving all the time constantly. So if there are parts of your life that you feel ayahuasca can help you on and you can get that information, then definitely do it. But if you're not sure, as in if you're not sure and you're not hitting brick walls, I personally wouldn't just wouldn't.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense, because I've never met anyone that's told me that they're going to do ayahuasca for fun or anything like that. Like,
yeah, just for the lols. Like,
no, people are going through some serious turmoil, so you would kind of want to recognize that is you and you need help, because then you're open to receiving it.
Yeah.
But if you're not in a stage of life where you need enlightenment or awakening, like I did say earlier, people go for like business decisions as well.
Oh, wow.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
So if you're not trying to be awake in any area of your life, then do not. Ayahuasca is not for you.
And then overall, how are you feeling within yourself? Like, can you recognise the old Amma from over a year ago now? Not at all.
No, I feel like no, not at all. No.
Yeah. Do you feel like, I don't know how to explain. I had this one question. I don't know how to phrase it, but you know, the thing that really stuck with me is what you said earlier when you said that you would just watch them fall. That thing.
In terms of how do I feel now?
I don't know how to. I don't know. That just really like stuck with me. I kind of like moved on abruptly because I had another question, but I don't know. Like,
How did it make you feel? You could be honest.
I don't know. I mean, it just made like a little bit shocked because I feel as though with human beings, like, we are meant to be like empathetic, and I understand, like, obviously you have to put yourself first before helping others. Always feel from a full, like, give from a full cup rather than a half cup, whatever. But then I think, what if you are in your full self, like you've filled your cup up first, you've looked after yourself, you've done all your self-love, self-care, and then someone is drowning? Would you still not go out your way? Like, you have the capacity to help.
It depends. It depends, because that person can also drag you down.
Right.
So if you don't have the capacity to help them and still enrich yourself, I'm not gonna do that.
Right.
Yeah, and I just feel, because I've done that a lot in my life and it really isn't serving me, I'm not. Don't call me. Like, call someone else. Yeah.
So I guess if like someone messaged you saying, I'm feeling a little, you'd give like a therapist number, but you wouldn't.
Oh no, like, I can definitely support in terms of, like, if my friend calls me and they tell me, I don't know, what they're going through, I would do that. But what I mean is, if you're a gambler, like something to that extreme, and you're constantly calling me for money, or
a repeating cycle.
You're just not trying to help yourself.
Yeah, that I get. Yeah.
But I mean, like no. I mean, I'm not gonna sit there and watch someone fall over and not go and help them, or like. But I just genuinely mean, like, or if you're like a drug addict or something like that, and like, you know, what more can I do?
Right. So it's about that person. If they can't help themselves, what's the point in you?
Yeah, I'm not now going to join your drug addiction.
That's helped with your like romantic relationships then, because you're not gonna sit around and
like, definitely not. Like, I can't date people who are not awake. Like, I cannot. And I remember one of our like ayahuasca teachers telling us, like, he now doesn't date anybody that hasn't done ayahuasca.
Wow,
like, there's no point.
Right. Are you the same then?
Well, I'm getting to a point where I'm recognizing I can't date people who are not open-minded or who haven't experienced life, like,
or spiritual.
It's just there's nothing to talk about.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm definitely getting to that point. But whether it's ayahuasca itself, I don't know. But I feel like, I don't know, because it's a bit hit and miss in terms of like some of the older generation. Some of them have obviously got to like 60 and they're awake now, and some of them are like got to 60 and they're still doing the same thing. So I think it's just, I recognize open-minded people and people who are open to exploring areas of life, or talking about things that maybe you wouldn't necessarily hear at school. Or
oh my gosh,
yeah,
I'm completely the same. Like, for me, any sort of relationship in my life, they need to be open-minded. Yeah, literally, friendships, like, and if you're not, then I have to like leave the room. Like, because I'm so open. Yeah, 100%. Because what's the point in constantly agreeing, or constantly, well, not agreeing, but constantly, you know, trying to explain your side to someone who's so close-minded that they just can't hear what you're saying.
And I'd rather enjoy that energy being around someone who's open-minded, and we can actually like grow together 100%. As opposed to not. So I definitely wouldn't like watch somebody like fall. I just want to put that out there.
You were saying it in like a metaphorical sense.
Yeah. Okay,
Oh my gosh, wow, that's insane. Wait, what's your sun, moon and rising? Just out of interest. I think you mentioned it, I forgot.
Yes, so I am sun is Cancer.
Right.
Rising is Gemini.
Same.
And ascending is
rising.
Oh,
moon
is Capricorn.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
So a bit of a weird blend. How about yourself?
So I'm an Aquarius sun.
Okay.
Pisces moon.
Okay.
And rising is Gemini. So the Pisces moon, you know Iman from event. So I did an episode with her and we were talking about sisterhood and the divine feminine and you know, spirituality, that kind of thing. And she recognized. I never said anything about my Pisces moon, but obviously Pisces are very emotional. They're very whatever, and your moon symbolizes and represents what your inner self is like. So she was like, Garima, you must feel so deeply. You must feel like overly empathetic for certain situations. So what I've realized now, I used to hate that about myself. Still low-key do, but now what I've realized is. And Iman said it in such a beautiful way. She was like, Garima, it shows that you have that ability to feel, but what you need to do is you have to sort of learn how to cope with that a bit. So I've found that if I'm, you know, feeling a little bit too empathetic, or if my emotions like every emotion is heightened. If I'm happy, I'm so happy. If I'm sad, I'm quite low, whatever. So I just have to take 5 minutes to myself, meditate, journal out, and it's actually fine. Meditations help with that so much. Do you still meditate till this day? From Ayahuasca?
Yeah, I feel like it's ongoing. Like even in my head, like I'm meditating now. Like it's just that inner peace, inner stillness that I need to like be able to function and just deal with this world. So yeah. So how do you find? I wouldn't say managing your emotion, but how do you find dealing with your emotion in the face of like other people? How do you kind of navigate that? Because I'm supposed to be very like compatible with Pisces.
Yeah. Because you've got the Cancer, water sign. But I'm just like, I have a cousin who's a Pisces and we get on so well. Yeah. So well. So. All water signs get along really well. 100%. I love my air signs, I love my water signs, and I love Geminis. That's
really?
I don't know why. It's a lot of... My sister's a Cancer, she doesn't like Geminis either. I don't know, I like the hustler energy, but then I also really like Leos.
Yeah, okay.
I like Leos, they've got that like, you know, their self, they're secure in their self, they're like a little bit, you're like, no girl. Like, no.
I don't. But
I love my water signs, I think they're so, you know, they feel, they're lovely people.
Yeah, no.
I'm so close with my sister as well, she's a Cancer.
Yeah, and you're Aquarius. That makes sense. Leo.
I've seen some Aquarius and Cancer like couples and they work really well together. So what would you go for like in a partner?
Well, I'm just kind of getting to a point now where I...
It sounds like I'm hitting on you. Like, would you like be with them?
I think, it's just more now on energy.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm not attracted to looks that much anymore. Like,
Do you think that's because of Ayahuasca then?
Yeah, definitely. That shit woke me the fuck up. Just like, I'm not really keen on looks now. It's more about what does happiness look like. Yeah. And like, what does open-mindedness look like? And if I get that from you, then I'd rather focus on that than...
100%.
Yeah.
When you ask me about the navigating through thing, do you mean like when someone has done something or said something that's affected me? Just
like... I guess, are you somebody that registers how your emotions are all the time? Like, do you monitor your emotions throughout the day? Or?
I would say so, yeah. So I can recognise when I'm feeling a bit off or feeling really happy or whatever.
So just give me an example.
So it could be like I don't really get triggered too much. Like if someone has a differing opinion, I'm kind of like, it is what it is. But I think things that trigger me, I feel like with triggers it shows an insecurity or it shows something you have to work on. So one thing that I'm fine with hate comments now. I get quite a few hate comments online.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, so like I think on one of my TikToks, the first thing that went kind of viral, someone commented saying something like, oh, you're doing anything for views, or like you're like so when it comes to attacking my character, which I know is wrong, that will affect me and get me upset. But now I think I'm better at that, so that I've worked on. But I think it's just things like...
Okay, so maybe I'll give you a more... So, for example, with me, I came from a stage where I couldn't process emotion.
Right.
So if I'm happy, I'm sad, angry, you're getting this reaction. And it got to a point where I just felt stifled in my, like, chest. Like, I felt a lot of, like, stuffiness here. Yeah. And, like, a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
And then I used to have to use like this chart, like a feelings wheel, which would tell me how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And then like I'll try to make out what I'm feeling, and I'll have to use the chart to then be like, okay, cool, this is anger, or this is like happiness, this is like excitement and stuff like that. So I think what I'm asking you is, where you are quite an emotional person, like generally speaking, do you track your emotions, or you just ride the wave of your journey here? It was fine coming to, like, you were happy, or
like, when I was gonna have that little cry,
like stuff, so like stuff like that, because I was just like reading, I was just like, wow, like she's gone from like so many emotions to, I'm just like, I don't know, so for me it's just like, do you really log, like, do you really register your feelings when you're...
I would say so, but it's not like I'll really I think maybe I do really focus on it, but I know exactly how I'm feeling in each moment for sure. But do you know what's really weird, what you said earlier, when you said that you'd feel like a feeling in your chest and then you'd have to figure it. So I did a embodiment class with she's a coach called Morgan May in America, and I did a few an episode with her as well, and I went to her embodiment class. In one of the embodiment like exercises, she said, I want you to all remember a time where someone really hurt you, and what you had to do is, obviously it's embodiment, so you're doing a movement, and you have to clench your fists and hold really tight for about a minute. And that really, my chest was aching the next day, and I think that's because I'm so in touch with my emotions and I let them out, that my body wasn't used to me suppressing it, right? So I think it's quite opposite, isn't it?
Yeah, that's so interesting.
The next day my chest was hurting, and I messaged her, I was like, girl, I don't know what that was, and I don't know.
When I realised or recognised after the ayahuasca that I don't process my emotions, and I recognised how repressed that, like, literally that's me all day, like I can just go around with that tight chest like all day,
even till today.
No, now I've obviously like had to learn to like deal with it, but yeah, that was me for a part of time. So it's just interesting when I meet very emotional, very expressive people, because you lot are clearly
everyone
free.
says I'm quite like easy to read as well. If I'm happy, you can tell. Like even like today, obviously that whole train thing happened, and I was like, oh my god, like I'm so respectful of people's time.
It's absolutely fine.
And I hate being late, and
absolutely
like
fine.
And I remember I was sat there and I was like, oh my god, don't cry. That was a bit when I was low-key suppressing, but I was like, my mascara's gonna run, like,
shit,
but I had to just do a little bit like, it's fine, like, I didn't do this. If I would feel even worse if it was like on purpose.
No,
I would never. Like,
no, it's absolutely fine. It's absolutely fine, hon.
That was a good chat. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
If you want to find out more information about Amma's ayahuasca experience, I will link everything in the description. Thank you so much for your time. It's such an insightful video. You know, I watched that video like 3 or 4 times.
Oh, did you?
Just because, obviously, for my questions. Obviously for my questions or whatever, but it was just so interesting.
Good, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making the video, and
you're good on YouTube. Get back on YouTube if you want to. If you want to.
Yeah,
I think you'll be great.
Thank you.
But,
I'm in the middle of a house renovation right now. So,
okay. Focus on that.
You can see the scaffold.
Is that your house?
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. No location, right? Yeah, okay.
We're right to cut now?
Yeah, of course.